Hi, welcome to Controversial, and today it's a subject on who sabotaged Nord Stream pipelines.
It was at 2 a.m. local time on Monday that a seismograph on a small Danish island picked up the first tremor. Soon, the water off its coast started churning. And then, 15 hours later, another one, this time 2.3 magnitude. Not an earthquake, scientists say, but mid-water explosions, the force of which blew open two gas pipelines in the Baltic Sea, now spewing unknown quantities of highly flammable methane up to its surface. The explosions triggered three large gas leaks along major pipelines from Russia to Europe, leaks discovered some distance apart east of the island of Bornholm, two of them here along the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, and a further one along Nord Stream 2.
So which countries could have done it? First, we need to establish what motivation do they have, and do they have the capability of carrying out the act without anyone else knowing. So first up, who are the losers? Well, the first one is Russia and the second one is Germany. And from now on, we're going to be counting Germany as the European Union, because any attack on Germany is basically an attack on the European Union. So the two losers here are Russia and the European Union. They both spent a lot of money building this, and now neither of them are going to be able to receive any money from it or receive any fuel. So they are both losers. They're both getting -1 point for their choice to do this. So who are the winners? Well, the winners are the countries that export gas, because the price is going to go up and they're going to be required to supply more gas. So if we look down here on this list, a lot of these countries actually import more than they export. So the only countries that really this is going to affect are Russia, United States and Norway. Russia obviously is a loser, not a winner out of this. So that leaves United States or Norway that could possibly be making money out of this for them to have a reason to do it. So if we look at Norway, it's not part of the European Union. As you can see, it's the only grey landmass that's an exporter of gas. But the thing with Norway is they're extremely rich, so they don't need to do this for money, and they also don't really want to produce any more gas. So their reasons for doing it would be minimal. And also, for them to do this without anyone else knowing would be extremely difficult for them. So I'm counting Norway off. So that leaves United States as second only to Russia at producing gas. They obviously are a winner out of this, but I don't believe that the United States would be doing this for money. Well, that's debatable, I suppose. And the third winner is Ukraine. And they're not winning out of a money reason. They're winning because if Russia are receiving less money, that's going to help them in the war. But Ukraine does not have the capability to do this, especially without being noticed by anyone else. So Ukraine is not possible either. So if money's not the reason, what other reasons are there? Well, first up is sanctions. Now, with Europe no longer relying on gas from Russia, they can start applying secondary sanctions to countries like China to help crush the Russian economy. Now, there is one other country inside the European Union that's still relying on Russia for its oil and gas, and that is Hungary. But you may have noticed in the news that Hungary and the European Union are not exactly getting on, and they may actually get kicked out of the European Union very soon. So with that in place, secondary sanctions could be forced on Hungary and the rest of the world. So who would want to do this for secondary sanctions? Well, we count out the European Union because they still wanted some of the gas from Russia. So they wouldn't have wanted to blow this up because even in the future they might be able to use it. It would make no sense for them to blow this up. So we can count out the European Union. So that leaves just United States and the UK. Now both these countries have the capability of carrying out this act without anyone else noticing. But it would be a lot easier if they did it together. If they both knew about the mission, then it would have been easy for either of these countries to carry out the act and the rest of the world not to know about it. But the problem with that in the UK is the government's a shambles at the moment, so they wouldn't have gone out of their way to do this on their own. This is much more likely to be led by the United States, with the UK following. So we're going to give a point to both the UK and the United States for the likelihood of them causing this by this means. So next on is propaganda. Now, who would want to blow this up for propaganda? Now, Russia could do it because they don't want to have to be forced to carry on supplying Europe with gas. Again, it still makes no sense that they would do it because it's going to cost them money. The European Union, with its willingness to try to get away from the gas supply from Russia, could have been willing to do this and blame it on Russia so they don't have to keep buying the gas that now they don't really rely on. That leaves the UK and the US. Again, if you can paint the Russia into a bad light, it's good for them. So they could have been involved. So we're going to give them both a point again. So all of these countries get 1 point. And the final reason, petulance. Now there's only one country that this could be done by, and that's Russia. If Putin thinks he's going to lose this war and just wants to act like a child and say, well, if I can't play, you can't use my ball, then he may well have blown this up. That's the only reason why he would do that for that. And so Russia gets a point for that. So if we add up all the total points, it points to the US. The US was probably the instigator of this, and the only reason they may not have done it is down to Russia's petulance. So if Russia acted like a child, then they done it, otherwise the United States done it. Anyway, this has been controversial. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.